All right, welcome to the NFL show from talkSPORT on talkSPORT USA, our dedicated NFL YouTube channel. And Brian T. Smith with me, Will Gavin. We are finally here. Week 1 is upon us. We're just 4 days away from actual live real NFL being on your talkSPORT airwaves. Oh, it's like a sigh of relief, a moment of joy, all bundled into one. I cannot wait.
How long ago does the Super Bowl in New Orleans
feel? God.
You know, and we were there. I still remember Superdome has emptied out. There's confetti on the field. We were in the top section in New Orleans at the Superdome doing our live show for talkSPORT. Now, this is the talkSPORT NFL show, the full year 2 of this. We've got flag, we've got the whole.
Where's your flag? There we go. Flag waving and everything.
We've got the whole deal, and we're recording this live. Peel back the curtain. It's also transfer deadline day at the talkSPORT studios, literally on the 17th floor, on the 10th floor for the website talksport.com. It's completely buzzing. Nicholas Jackson, Alexander Isaac, Liverpool, Arsenal. There's so much going on, but the real story, as we know, the Eagles and the Cowboys and Brazil and week 1. We are finally here. I could literally not be more excited.
So our brand new format for our Monday morning recording, you'll get it Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, you'll get bits and pieces of it through the week, is every week we're going to touch on the 5 big topics and we're going to bang them out in 5 minutes.
The five,
It's going to be the tightest, most important points you need to know analysis. It's our 5 in 5. We'll hit the 5 big topics of the week. And obviously with this week, looking forward to week 1 of the season. How could we start anywhere else as we're going to hit the buzzer to kick off the season with the season kickoff, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys Thursday night, live on talkSPORT from 1 a.m. Which side of the ball do you want to start on, Brian?
The Michael Parsons side.
Fine,
the only side that matters. The fact that, Dak Prescott has to address Michael Parsons. The fact that Jerry Jones is standing out there saying, we're going to be better this year. They reward Deron Bland with a $92 million. Hey, Michael Parsons, you got your money in Green Bay. We're going to give $92 million to a cornerback, not the star of our defense, which I think is hilarious. This is a fascinating season for the defending Super Bowl champion, the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni. But this right now, I mean, that's the thing with the NFL, right? There's always a story. And we're going to go into the season kickoff in Philly. You get the rings, the whole deal, and everyone's talking about the Cowboys. Nobody's talking about the Eagles. Everyone is talking about the Cowboys.
I'm not sure, Jerry, that's quite how he wanted everyone to be talking about the Cowboys.
I will not be shocked at all if the Eagles
1
win that game 34-10. And the return of Dak Prescott, there is so much at stake in this game. This is exactly why we love the NFL.
So I have my kind of feelings on the Cowboys. I know the defense is going to be bad now Mike Parsons isn't there, whereas before I just had a suspicion it was going to be bad and the defensive line were going to maybe elevate it a little bit.
And he would wreak some havoc, yes.
I don't see that happening now, which means the offensive side of the ball are going to have to score 30-plus points a game. And look, Dak Prescott 2 years ago was an MVP candidate, right? He's now got George Pickens on the outside to add to CeeDee Lamb. They like these rookies in the backfield. Their retooled offensive line may end up looking quite good. There's a little part of me that thinks I actually still expect the Cowboys to be...
The Cowboys' offense should be fine. That's not the problem.
A 8 and 9, 9, 10. And wins are difficult to come by in the NFL, but the margins are so fine that I can absolutely imagine them somehow eking into the playoffs. But the point is that Jerry Jones only cares about one thing, and that's hoisting one more Lombardi before he dies. And that's not going to happen without Micah Parsons in this team. I think they're going to start the season dreadfully. And look, this Eagles team, they have taken a step back from where they were at the Super Bowl last year. It often happens. You have a talent drain. But versus the last time in the Super Bowl, they've kept their coordinators. The coaching staff is intact for the most part. The lines are intact. The skill players are all still there. If this Eagles team aren't making a late run in the playoffs, you're going to be pretty disappointed in their season.
Nobody's mentioning Saquon Barkley. Nobody's mentioning the best offensive player in the league last year. Yeah, a ton of carries. I think one of the biggest questions in the NFL season is how will Saquon Barkley respond after having one of the greatest rushing years in NFL history, but all of those carries. But, I have the Cowboys going 7-10. I was thinking about it this morning, 6-11, 7-10. 7-10 is nothing in the NFL because you have the Eagles in that division. You have Jaden Daniels in the command. There's no way in the world that the Dallas Cowboys, without Micah Parsons, even with George Pickens and a healthy Dak Prescott, you know what Dak Prescott's going to do? Dak Prescott's going to throw 30-plus TDs and he's going to lead the league in interceptions. That's what Dak Prescott does in the NFL now, Will. So you're talking 6-11, 7-10, at best 8-9. What are you doing at 8-9 in the NFL? You're in the draft. You're in the draft lottery in the NFL. You're picking for next year. They're not going to run the table. They're not going to be better than the Eagles. They're not going to be better than the Commanders. Are the Dallas Cowboys actually going to be better than the New York Giants? That's the question to ask, because the New York Giants have hope. They have Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson's starting 3 or 4 or 5 games, and they're going to turn that over to Jackson Dart. Dallas Cowboys, 6 wins, 7 wins, 8 at best. There's no way in the world they become the best story in the NFL this year without Micah Parsons. The season is already over for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to give the Eagles the remaining minute that we've got here, because I'm with you on the Cowboys. To an extent, I'm slightly higher on them than the average person for this year, but I just don't think they're ever going to be able to elevate themselves over the coming years. I still think a huge error has been made. Philadelphia, right? My big concern for them is that, yes, they're returning a lot of the key talent, but they are relying on youth a huge amount on that side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball in particular, they're relying on a bunch of first, second, third-year guys, a rookie linebacker.
They had a talent drain after the Super Bowl.
Rushers. Like, there is just a little bit too much reliance on that depth on that side of the ball. I know we all love Howie Roseman, and apparently he's the absolute genius, and is there going to be a Zach Bourne type that comes out this year? But I just think that they are going to return to the mean a little bit. Every running back that's ever run for over 2,000 yards hasn't hit 1,500 the following season.
There's also never been a running back like Saquon Barkley before. I
think Saquon takes a step back. I think the defense take a step back, and I still think this NFC is for the taking, even with the Eagles in there.
Who's winning it? Don't waffle. Who's winning it? No, who's winning the NFC East?
Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles.
There we go. So there's no room for the Cowboys. I heard the buzzer, Will. We got to keep this rolling. I love this new format.
All right, that was Eagles, Cowboys. Eagles winning the NFC East. What about the AFC in general? Because Sunday Night Football, live on talkSPORT 2, is delivering us an absolute humdinger. Topic 2 is the Ravens and the Bills.
The MVP battle, Will. The MVP battle. One of my favorite things this NFL offseason during the 6 months of winter, the long winter, was almost every day you'd be on Twitter, and I would try to take Twitter breaks on holiday, obviously, but you'd be on Twitter, you'd be seeing all this junk, because that's all you mostly get on Twitter, and somebody would put up the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen tweet, which has Lamar Jackson in this column, Josh Allen in this column, stats head-to-head, every single significant stat, except for like 2, went to Josh Allen. But Josh Allen won the MVP, and all of the Lamar Jackson lovers love to use that, and maybe they'll throw in some other reasons, but they love to use that like, oh my God, I cannot believe that Josh Allen won the MVP. What a disgrace. What a discredit. Lamar. They all forget that the Bills were so good that Josh Allen's numbers were deflated because he was getting pulled out of games all the time. He wasn't even playing in the fourth quarter. And it is a team game, and Buffalo had a tougher schedule. All these reasons. I love that we get to revisit this again in week 1. Lamar Jackson probably should have been the MVP last year. Should have been the MVP if you just look at numbers. Josh Allen won the MVP. Both have fallen short in the playoffs. And I think this is the thing. As much as we want to talk about numbers and stats and MVPs and on, it doesn't matter, because Josh Allen will tell you, Lamar Jackson will tell you, all that matters is they don't just want to be in a Super Bowl. They want to win a Super Bowl. And these 2 quarterbacks are on this current Mount Rushmore, the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. They're both missing the biggest thing of their career, not even winning a Super Bowl. They can't even get to a Super Bowl at this point in their NFL career. Will, does it happen this year for either of them?
I am convinced it does happen.
And I heard you're a Ravens fan.
For one of them, because I believe that the Baltimore Ravens are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. My feeling on the Bills, Josh Allen, reigning MVP, no clear number 1 receiver, Khalil Shakir and Josh Palmer and James Cook holding out and all of the stuff that's going on around him. He is obviously still going to be a force to contend with. Have they done enough on the defensive side of the ball? Do you really believe in Joey Bosa, Tre'Davious White, rookie Maxwell Hairston? There's health issues with all of them, but also are they going to come in and elevate units which were good in the regular season but can't get it done in the playoffs? I really, really believe in this Ravens team. Not only do I think Lamar Jackson is finally going to get over the MVP hump of being the greatest regular season quarterback of the last 5 years, but not being able to do it in the playoffs. I think he has got much better talent around him. I think that he has got a second-year coach in Zach Orr on the defensive side who... Their defense was terrible for the first half of last year. He made changes. He made improvements. He made signings. That defense is going to be 5 or 10% better this year, and that's all it needs to be when the offense is going to be as good as they're going to be. I truly think this Ravens team is special, and I think this is the year they get over the hump. And it starts on Sunday night in Buffalo. Statement win. Week 1. They're going to beat them in Highmark.
If they were that special, so everything sounds great. Well, I love what you're saying. However, if they were that special, how come it didn't happen last year? They haven't changed that much. I mean, you have Derrick Henry, you have Lamar Jackson, your receiving core is pretty darn good. How come they weren't the best team in the NFL last year? Something is always off a little.
I thought they were. The problem is, I thought they were the best team in the NFL last year. Certainly, best team in the AFC last year. The problem is that getting over the hump in the playoffs.
And the hump has been Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So there's always a hump. And here's my problem. My problem is a Lamar Jackson problem. Not that I don't think he's great. He is fantastic. Lamar Jackson, until he proves that he can deal with the playoff pressure, until he proves that he will not turn the ball over in the playoffs, I don't care what he does in the regular season anymore, because he's going to put up incredible numbers, and he's going to be the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. I also still have questions at times about his overall on-field leadership. I'm not talking about off the field. Seems like a good guy. He's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of swagger. He has it. But does he have it to lead a team on the road, at home, in the playoffs, in the cold, in the divisional round, in the conference championship, potentially in the wild card? He hasn't done it yet, and I still feel like they're missing something. I also feel like when it really comes down to it, that the best Harbaugh coach, John Harbaugh, sometimes forget that they can run the ball, and that was an issue the previous year. That was an issue last year. I still don't fully buy into the Ravens, and they can go 14-3, and I'm still going to have questions about them in the playoffs, Will.
You've left me with 10 seconds, which means I can only talk about one thing, and the one area that does concern me about the Baltimore Ravens is how can their kicker, Tyler Luke, stand up and make himself counted?
Justin Tucker Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. Right, on to topic 3 on today's show, and you mentioned them there. They're going to always get mentioned when it comes to AFC contenders. Perennial Super Bowl competitors. The Kansas City Chiefs open the season in Sao Paulo, live on talkSPORT 2 on Friday.
Everything's on talkSPORT.
Night.
Everything's on talkSPORT this year, Will.
It's a huge game against the Chargers. It's in Sao Paulo, and here is my big prediction for the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
I want to hear it.
With Josh Simmons in at left tackle, with Rashee Rice coming back after that tough first 6-game stretch, admittedly, but year 2 of Xavier Worthy, a better running game, everything coming back together. Patrick Mahomes is going to look at the criticism of him over the last 3 years. He's going to look at Lamar Jackson's MVPs. He's going to look at the fact that there are people even saying that whilst Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the NFL, that over the last 3 years, Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in the NFL.
That's a fact.
And he is going to go, it wasn't all about Tyreek Hill. I can still throw the ball deep, and they're going to open up this offense, and I think the Chiefs offense becomes a juggernaut once again, and we get a Chiefs team putting up 30-plus points a game.
I thought you said the Ravens were the best team in the AFC.
I cannot wait. I still think the Ravens beat them in the playoffs, but I think I think the AFC has 2 14-15 win teams.
The AFC is absolutely,
and the Chiefs are one of them.
The AFC is absolutely loaded, which is why if I'm Buffalo, if I'm the Chargers, if I'm any of those teams that's trying to take, I'm concerned right now privately. I want to admit it, but let's not forget talkSPORT USA on the socials, YouTube, Facebook, and most importantly, talksport.com, where we've got 1 billion stories and expanded staff that's all been going to be announced. Here's the thing. I look at the Chiefs' schedule, okay? They open against the Chargers. That's an odd game, though, because it's in Brazil. So that's a 50-50 right now. Ooh. Then you have the Eagles. You beat the Giants, but then you have the Ravens. And then you're kind of flip-flopping because you're at Jacksonville, you win that game, but then you have the Lions. Then you have the Raiders with Geno Smith, but Pete Carroll and Ashton Jennings a better team. Then the Commanders, then the Bills, then on the road against the Broncos. The Cowboys season might be over, but you have to play the Texans. You still have to play Denver. That's a tough schedule, Will. And this is the Chiefs team that was winning. I mean, remember last year with the Chiefs? They won every game, and the last second they needed help. We spent the whole year talking at talkSPORT on the NFL show. How good was this team really? Travis Kelce is engaged. He's also a year older. I do think that Patrick Mahomes is on his revenge tour. He's got the new haircut. I remember being at the Superdome post-game, standing right next to him and interviewing him for talkSPORT, and you could see how affected he was, how down he was. He said that it sucks, and it's going to stick with him for the rest of his career. My problem with the Chiefs is I just feel like you have that window, and has that window ended, not to be good, but to be the best in the NFL, and I'm not sure they can do this for 17 games, and I'm not sure they can do this for 3 or 4 games in the playoffs, and it is still the Bills' time, and it is the Ravens' time. I feel like the Chiefs are going backwards this year. I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Denver Broncos win that division. I think Mahomes is better. I'm not sure the Chiefs are better than they were last year, and if they're not making the Super Bowl.
I think that's fair. And look, I actually agree with you to an extent, because I don't like what they've done on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
They haven't addressed the position at corner opposite Trent McDuffie. They give Trent McDuffie his big money, and I think he is. Whilst I don't put him in that same tier as, Christian Gonzalez, and I'm not gonna start naming players, because then people get angry and they go, "Oh, why didn't you mention Pat Satan?"
Is that the voice? They use?
That's the voice of fans on X in my mind. Look, I love Steve Spagnuolo. I love that defense
solid,
continues to push. I thought they had better pass rush last season than they had in recent years, and George Karlaftis and all that stuff. But they didn't do anything to augment that defense. They didn't sort out that secondary. The same problems they had last year on that side of the ball are still going to be there. And look, that meant they got picked apart in the Super Bowl and probably should have been beaten before that. The Bills should have beat them. And honestly, there were quite a few other teams who should have beat them before that.
What about those
here's
the thing. I have this written down.
I'm just so convinced that offense is going to be so much better, and I'm so convinced they're going to put points up. They're going to be a brilliant regular season
team. Who's their number one
team.
receiver, Will?
I'm just with you. I think they fall over in the playoffs.
But who's their number one receiver? Like this, I was making notes this morning in between writing stories for talkSPORT.com, putting this all together. And in this 5-minute format, we're throwing stuff out. Who is their number one receiver? That is my problem with the Kansas City Chiefs. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. And they don't have a number one wide receiver, and they have not since Tyreek Hill left. Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, that's your depth chart? Dude, that doesn't work, man. Like, I don't care how good he is. Travis Kelce's getting older and slower. You have Xavier Worthy, but he's not a number one. He's at best a number two. That is a problem for them.
But if Hollywood Brown is healthy, he allows Xavier Worthy to do what he does much better, which isn't just be a pure field stretcher. Their best receiver is Rashee Rice coming back for 11 games. That's the problem. And maybe that suspension should have been more than 6 games, and maybe that's a conversation
that
for another
position
video.
Has held that team back for years now, and they barely won the Super Bowl when they did it. That holds them back, man.
That holds them back.
We're already through 3 segments. We are burning through this, Will.
We're sticking in the AFC. It's very AFC heavy, and I've only just really realised it.
You made the show list, so let's just be honest.
Look, we felt we needed to touch on this. Here at talkSPORT 2.
Let's slow it down. Let's slow it down for the older people. We can't talk as fast. We need to take it really slow right now, Will.
We have to slow it down because we're slowing it down for a 41-year-old entering his prime, apparently. Aaron Rodgers has an Aaron Rodgers Bowl to kick off the season that doesn't involve the Green Bay Packers. In itself, that's weird. He takes the Pittsburgh Steelers and their new-look offense on the road to take on the Jets and a defense with Aaron Glenn that I'm expecting some pretty decent stuff from this season. To open up our season on talkSPORT 2 on Sunday nights, it's our 6 p.m. game. Aaron Rodgers, did you see enough in that last 5 or 6 games for the Jets last season to say he can at least be a competent quarterback, which, let's be honest, is more than they've had in Pittsburgh for about 7 years?
Hell no. Aaron, look, I don't root against anyone. I mean, I do, but I don't, because they are professionals. Like, I don't take any joy in Aaron Rodgers failing at this point in his career. I'm sure he's a fine guy. Like, if he was your neighbor, he'd probably be an okay guy. He would mow his lawn. He'd pick up his trash. Like, he'd be okay. Aaron Rodgers, having failed in Green Bay, there's no way. Failed with the New York Jets, having insisted that he had to leave, played this out forever, made himself into the biggest story of the NFL offseason, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. His whole persona since he's gone there has not been that great. I don't see it being perfect, again, for 17 games in the playoffs with DK Metcalf. They don't have a great running back. Their offensive line is iffy. The best part of this team is the defense. It sounds like I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. like where does this all go? To win 8 games, to win 7 games, to win 9 games? They're not winning 13 games. They're not going to be one of the best teams in the league. And Aaron Rodgers, as you were pointing out on Twitter to somebody whose name I can't mention not that long ago, Aaron Rodgers just looks slow, man. And I feel like we're having the same conversation last year on the talkSPORT NFL show. Aaron Rodgers is in the twilight of his career. He is very old by NFL standards. He is no longer mobile. His arm is nowhere near as good as it was just 5 years ago. He's not an MVP candidate. I would love for Aaron Rodgers, in Pittsburgh to have this insane season and ride off into the sunset. I just don't see it happening.
There's this amazing, and it's interesting you mentioned that kind of Twitter exchange, because there was this amazing idea that last year the Jets' offensive line wasn't good enough. By the way, it had a lot of young talent on it and could have easily been good enough for a quarterback who was mobile and able to do something with the ball in his hands. That he was still efficient, that he was still hitting, everything that they did that was good in those last 5 weeks. Yeah, everything he did in those last 5 weeks was all short, was all yards after catch, it looked like year one Brock Purdy, not Aaron Rodgers, the MVP candidate, the guy who prior to Patrick Mahomes we used to talk about being the most talented quarterback in NFL history. It was completely different in terms of style. And you said about his bad picks, because it's fascinating. Aaron Rodgers has the best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the NFL. And I think he cares about that stat.
Of course he does.
And I think he protects the ball too much. And I don't think he pushes the ball down the field. And guess what you've got in Pittsburgh? You've got the 2 best deep outside receivers you could possibly have. It's absolutely ridiculous. You don't actually have 2 of them anymore because you traded one away. But you've got DK Metcalf. You've got Roman Wilson, who in this condensed timeline they're expecting to be a number 2 wide receiver, who couldn't even scratch to being a number 3 wide receiver in his rookie season. I like what they've done on defense. I like the Derek Harmon pick. I like Jalen Ramsey. Darius Slayer is a nice older piece to bring in and try and bring some cohesion to the back end of that defense. But it all feels very 9-8. It all feels very Marv Lewis era Bengals.
You love your stats.
It all feels like saving Mike Tomlin's record of not having a losing season. And do you know what? If the Steelers don't at least win a playoff game this year, Mike Tomlin should be shown the door.
Aaron Rodgers, and we had this from a Steelers writer exclusive to talkSPORT. Aaron Rodgers was only there because Mike Tomlin wanted them. Mm-hmm. That did not come from the GM or the owner. That came from Mike Tomlin. Let me throw out a stat to you. Aaron Rodgers from 2016 to 2021. Okay, still prime of his career with the Green Bay Packers. Had less interceptions than he's had in his last 2 playing years. His final one in Green Bay and last year with the Jets. His last 2 playing years, we don't count the year where he played 4 snaps for the Jets. He had 23 picks the last 2 years. Aaron Rodgers is in decline. I'm not the only person who can see that, Will. It's over for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, because even if they win 9 or 10 games, they're not going to be the best team in the NFL this year. It ain't happening. Mike Tomlin picked the wrong quarterback, and he's going to regret it.
Just to give some respect to the New York Jets, who will also be playing in this game this weekend.
Oh, yeah, the Jets.
They are being projected to have a 5-win season this year by
Sounds
Vegas
about right.
and everywhere else. I think they're going to surprise people. That's only 7 wins, but I think they're a better team than people expect.
I like the Aaron Glenn hire. We've talked enough Jets players on talkSPORT at talkSPORT.com. He's going to bring out a lot in this team. He's, Aaron Glenn, heck of a player.
This is so far past the buzzer. This is astonishing.
Aaron Glenn, heck of a player.
Is it because you're scared of Aaron Glenn?
They're winning 5 or 6 or 7 games. That's it. Let's move on.
If Aaron Glenn comes, Aaron Glenn's going to be in London in about 6 weeks' time, and so we want to make sure that he's in our good books when we end up.
I like Aaron Glenn as a hire.
Yeah, so do I. I'm a big fan of it. If we were going,
are we on the last topic already?
But we are on the last topic.
All right, let's do it.
And the final topic. And I'm going to be honest with you. There was some hot debate for the first ever time we're doing 5 topics. So I'm going to subsume the other topic into my reason for joy in the NFL going into 2025. And my reason for joy going
Tom
into
Brady on TV is your reason for joy in 2025.
How did you know? He'll make a big improvement to year 2, I'm sure.
He will, actually.
Look, I am very, very excited to see the rookie class for this year. And I know that is a real obvious statement to make going in. And every season, it's always exciting to see new players and see what they can do. But it's kind of twofold for me, right? There's 2 players very specifically that I'm very, very hyped to see. Travis Hunter. The first true two-way player in the NFL since it was the NFL.
Historic.
So
if it happens, truly historic.
And I really, truly believe he is that intelligent. He is that physically capable. I think he elevates that Jacksonville Jaguars team. I think they are going to take a huge step forward this year, and he's a huge part of that. I really like them to challenge for the AFC South, if not win it this season. I'm so high on Travis Hunter as an individual. I think he just moves like no other human being I've ever seen on a football field. He's clearly so smart. I love him, and I can't wait to see him on set.
He hasn't played a snap
Sunday
yet,
night.
but yes, you're really into it.
And he's going to be in Wembley in like 7 weeks' time, and I cannot wait to see him live and in person and commentate on it for talkSPORT. Him and Cam Ward, because I feel like this is the most disrespected number one overall pick in modern NFL. Certainly when it's been a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. When you're talking about Luke Jokel being picked number one overall.
I still don't even know who drafted Cam Ward because I have not heard his name mentioned since the NFL draft.
And look, I get Shador's exciting. I get Jackson Darts in New York and all of that stuff going on. But when you have only 4 TV games in the country we're broadcasting from in the 9 o'clock window, and what they choose to do is put Packers-Lions on 2 different channels and not put Titans-Broncos, the number one overall pick, against maybe the number one defense in the NFL on, that is disrespect. The Tennessee Titans have been horrendously disrespected. Cam Ward has the upside of a Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he is that player, and I think it's going to take some time for him to get there.
Oh my God! Did you just say that
he has the arm talent?
Did you just say that Cam Ward has the upside of Patrick Mahomes?
Absolutely, from a physical perspective,
that Cam Ward could be as good as Patrick Mahomes.
No. I'm not saying have the career of. I'm saying from a physical talent perspective, has that level of upside. He's nowhere near there, but I think. He is one of those players who you go out and you go, I don't want a pocket passer. I want a guy who can throw from any arm angle, who can scramble, who can do all sorts of exciting things for me. I want to shoot for the moon, know that I have a chance of missing it, but also, if he's as good as he could be, if he hits his ceiling, we'll be talking about Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Allen, and Ward.
You know, you played at like 3 colleges, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be excitable. What are your reasons for joy in the NFL, Brian?
I was going to do Travis Hunter, and you stole that from me because we didn't.
Tell me why Travis Hunter's a reason for joy for you.
We didn't. Yeah, because I mean, Travis Hunter is absolutely fascinating, and actually, no one's really been talking in the last couple of weeks. So we have Micah Parsons and everything going on. My reason for joy in 2025 is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they are just going to be a factory. I don't want to use the C word, the content word, but they're going to be a factory of chaos. The Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, with their ownership issues, with their stadium issues, with all their past QB issues. You know, you see the photo, the fan who's got the couch jersey and 20 other names taped to it. Now you have Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. You throw in the Myles Garrett during the Super Bowl, having the trade. Myles Garrett, I never want to play for the Cleveland Browns for the rest of my life. Oh, yeah, I have nowhere else to go. And if you give me a lot of money, I'll stay with the Cleveland Browns. They're going to win 5 games. They're going to win 4 games. They're going to win 6 games. They are going to be daily news. It's such a circus. As you said before, Will, correctly, it's such a clown show. And somewhere within that is Shedeur Sanders. And he could be pretty talented. He also might play a game and throw 3 picks. But what they bring, there's no one else like that in the NFL. There's no one like that in the NBA. There's no one like that in Major League Baseball, the Premier League. And then the Cleveland Browns. They haven't won a playoff game in 8,000 years. They're not going to win one this year, but it's really fun to kind of just watch them see, like, what have the Cleveland Browns done today? Oh, let's check in on the Cleveland Browns and on and on and on. The fact they're even talking about this team with their 8,000 quarterbacks. And oh, yeah, Deshaun Watson is sitting out there, $230 million guaranteed, the worst trade in NFL history. Just a fascinating team, man.
Are they picking number 1? Next May?
They're trying to. They're trying to do every single thing they can. No, I think the New Orleans Saints will. I don't think the Saints have anything at all this year. Spencer Rattler is your starting quarterback. Saints are worse than the Browns.
I have an outside shout. I think the Colts might be picking number 1.
That's fine. That's
I like the idea
fine.
of it being the Saints and the Colts in like some kind of weird Arch Manning off.
I mean, Anthony Richards is better off going into wrestling right now. Like he has.
That buzzer is the most deserved buzzer of all time, and that was our 5 in 5, our brand new format for the NFL show here on talkSPORT USA, your dedicated NFL YouTube channel. Also available as a podcast via the talkSPORT podcast.
You can basically
network.
get anything you need from the NFL week in 25 to 30 minutes. Listen to it on the tube. Listen to it on the train. You're walking your dog in London. Whatever you're going to Greg's to pick up a sausage roll. Whatever you're doing, you can figure it all out.
Here
And
on-
we'll be in a better studio. You know, I mean, this is a start, and really, we've seen a huge growth in subscribers for our Facebook page at talkSPORT USA, our Twitter account talkSPORT USA, everything at talksport.com. This is just a start, Will, for a really, really interesting NFL season.
And if you're here for the first time, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you get involved in the comments, and make sure that you're tuned into talkSPORT 1 a.m. Friday morning, Thursday night for the opening game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be there. Brian will be there, kind of. We'll pre-record something, don't you worry. And we will be there to bring you live and exclusive commentary of over 90 games this NFL season. I cannot wait. It's our biggest season ever, and we've got it covered for you all on talkSPORT.